What's up YouTube, this is Bison X39 guys, today I'm coming to you with my latest deck profile video for the January 2020 format. And today guys, we're going to be looking at my Counter Fairy deck. Alright? Now Counter Fairy's got a bit of a boost off the last ban list with Solemn Warning coming off the list to full unlimited status, which is actually pretty damn cool. I can tell you right now, this deck needed that little extra keep the card off the field style card in the deck, and it does help. Moving forward with this deck versus the meta, it actually does handle itself very well. A lot of players are considering back row heavy decks to be very meta relevant this format, specifically things like Altergeist and Google Control. But I can tell you right now, Counter Fairy shouldn't be counted out of the situation. Primary reason is that unlike the other two decks I mentioned, which rely primarily on floodgates to control the field, this deck relies primarily on counter traps, and the only way to deal with counter traps are with other counter traps. And since trap cards aren't really that relevant in combo-centric decks, you can see where I'm getting at, that this can be a very problematic deck to deal with. Alright? So without further ado, we're going to get into this deck. Alright? Starting off with 3 copies of Bountiful Artemis. Alright? Bountiful Artemis, whenever a counter trap is activated while this card's face up on the field, you're drawing a card. Multiple copies on this field means multiple cards drawn whenever counter traps are activated. It is a very chief consistency card for the deck. You want to get it onto the field as soon as possible so you can actually make the most use out of your counter traps. Alright. Meltiel, the Sky Sage, right here, is actually another key piece to the Counter Fairy strategy. Whenever a counter trap is activated, you're getting 1,000 life points. That can actually help you win games going into time. And then if you control a card that counts as the center of the sky on the field, you can actually target any card on your opponent's field and destroy it, which is actually pretty damn awesome. It just makes dealing with this deck a lot more problematic for your opponent. Moving forward, you got Minerva, the Scholar of the Sky. Minerva is actually pretty awesome in her own right. Anytime a counter trap is activated, it's gaining 500 attack, and that's a permanent attack increase, which is just huge. Control a Sanctuary of the Sky card on the field, and you're getting back a counter trap that has a different name that wasn't activated this turn. So you have recursion in her as well, so awesome. 2 copies of Honest. The deck is predominantly light attribute deck, so Honest is a natural fit as a great hand trap for the deck. Protects your monsters from being run over, and not only that, but it also can turn around and easily be tutored out of the deck. When it's special summon from the deck, you can actually bounce it back to your hand, so you always have a hand trap in hand that can really keep your cards alive. Alright? Moving forward, we got 1 copy of Barrier Statue of the Heavens. This card is actually pretty damn useful considering what you're looking at in the metagame. Things like Orcus and Salmon Greats, they special summon Dark Attribute as well as Fire Attribute monsters. So this card hits the field, your opponent's not special summoning any monsters from their extra deck or special summoning monsters, period, and that really hurts. Alright. 3 copies of Guiding Ariadne. This is actually very key to the Counter Fairy strategy, primarily because of 2 effects. The first effect is this Pendulum Scale effect, where basically when you activate counter traps, you're not paying any cost. No discarding cards, no paying life points. You're basically activating the counter traps for free. Alright? The other cool effect is its monster effect. Whenever this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can reveal up to 3 counter traps from your deck to your opponent. Your opponent randomly chooses 1 to add to your hand, the others are shuffled back into your deck. Alright, and what we want to turn around and do to make the best use of that monster effect is use the pendulum effect of one of the 2 copies of Luster Dragon, the Draco Slayer. This card allows you to target Guiding Ariadne while it's in the other scale, destroy, get that counter trap search, as well as get to search another copy from your deck off of Luster Dragon. So essentially you're thinning your deck by 2 cards with this particular play. Okay. 3 copies of the Sanctum of Parsheth. This is the Sanctuary of the Sky card in the deck. Okay? Basically, it power boosts all your fairy type monsters by 300 attacks, and that's a welcome power boost to all your monsters. Okay, moving forward, the card also has the ability to recur resources out of your graveyard. You can target up to 3 fairy type monsters or counter traps with different names and stack them on top of your deck in any order. So you're literally controlling your drawers for the next few turns in order to be able to put more resources onto your field and hopefully turn the tide in tight spots. It does pay off. Alright. 3 copies of the Ties of the Brethren. This is very key to the overall counter fairy strategy that I have going here. Basically, 1 level 4 fairy type monster on the field can get you into the other ones, whether it be Matilda to help gain life points and grinding games, or control what cards your opponent has on the field. Minerva to basically power boost and recur more cards out of the graveyard, or dropping down Honest to get a hand trap into the field, or even dropping something like Barrier Statue of the Heavens to lock down your opponent from being able to do anything. Awesome card. You can't special summon or battle the turn. You use this card's effect, but hey, you know what? It's worth it, especially if you're going first, because you can get your field set up and be able to move forward really quickly. Alright? 3 copies of Pot of Duality. This deck really doesn't special summon all that much. So utilizing Pot of Duality to dig 3 cards deeper to get the card you need for the situation, always useful. Alright, and of course, this deck does have an extra deck, but I can tell you right now, it really isn't that important. 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance helps this deck out just by digging into your deck for an extra 2 cards. Alright. Moving forward with the counter traps. Now, I'm going to turn around and talk about the counter traps with their costs. With Rebirth of Parsheth, whenever your opponent activates a spell, trap, or monster effect, you can reveal a counter trap from your hand, discard a card, pay 1,000 life points, and then you can negate the activation of the card and send that card back to the deck. So it's actually a pretty interesting counter trap, because you get to negate and basically sending it back to your opponent's deck, which is actually pretty good. A bit better than Wiretap, which only goes after trap cards. It hits a lot of different cards, and that can actually be very useful. Alright, and furthermore, you actually get a Parsheth monster out of your deck or your extra deck onto the field, which is actually pretty awesome as well. 3 copies of Solemn Judgment. Hey, what am I going to say? Solemn Judgment is actually an awesome card, especially in late game situations. Pay half your life points, you can negate the summon of a monster, the activation or a spell or a trap. It's such an old school card, but it's actually a very worthwhile effect to have. Okay. 3 copies of Solemn Strike. Alright, this card negates the special summon of monsters. Those special summons are the inherent summons, things like Link Summoning, Exceed Summoning, Pendulum Summoning, Synchro Summoning. Those type of summonings can all be negated by this card, as well as any monster effects, so it's a double duty cards. And paying 1,500 life points, not that bad. Alright, and of course we got the guy who just came off the ban list at 3 copies of Solemn Warning. Such an awesome card. Paying 2,000 life points, you negate the summon of a monster or effect that can summon a monster, which is just huge. Shuts your opponent down from utilizing things like fusion or even ritual summoning, or just putting in a monster on the board that could be problematic. Always worth having on the field. And last but not least, 3 copies of Ultimate Providence. Alright, if a monster effect, spell, or trap card is activated, you discard a card from your hand that matches the card you're wishing to negate it. Okay? Which is actually pretty damn useful, in my opinion. Alright, that's it for the main deck. Going into the extra, you have 3 copies of the Avenging Knight Parsheth. Avenging Knight Parsheth can target one of your opponent's monsters and put that monster into defense position. And then if it attacks a defense position monster, it can inflict piercing damage, which is actually pretty good. Okay. Now, most of the deck is built around rank 4s, because typically that's what you can actually build into with this particular deck. Like I said before, with Power of Extravagance, it's not very important, but I tend to include cards that aren't very useless in my decks, in my extra decks, especially if I'm running Extravagance. Babushka basically is a stall card. Can really shut down monster effects, which is very useful. Alright, I do run the Utopia package in this deck because it is a light attribute deck, and just imagine power boosting lightning up to 5,000 and then using Honest during the battle. You get the idea. Alright, Castel. This is either a Book of Moon or a compulsory evacuation device effect, which is actually awesome. Alright. Number 101, Silent Honor Arc, can steal your opponent's monsters and use them as overlay units, which is actually great for taking problematic monsters off the board. Okay. Gaia Cowboy. Great card, especially if you need if your opponent only has a few life points left. Can burn for game with this card's effect. Abyss Dweller. Salamangreats and Orcus are going to be a thing this meta, so definitely shut down their effects in the graveyard. Evil Swarm, Exotonite. You can run one copy. You can actually run multiple copies of this card. Right now, I'm liking one. Basically, if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you basically can nuke the board except for itself and take control of the duel from that point. And for decks that like to power boost their monsters, number 103, Rhino Zero, is actually very good because you can actually just destroy that monster, whether it be increased or decreased attack, and you get a free draw from it. So that's actually pretty cool. For some links, Hippozykin, the majority of the monsters in the main deck are light attribute, so this will power boost all light attribute monsters by 500 attack. So that plus the Sanctuary of Parshath can really add 800 attack points to a lot of your monsters, which is actually pretty cool. And if it's ever destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you're getting a light attribute monster back from your grave. Alright, I do have Nightmare Unicorn to help spin cards off the field back to the deck, which is actually a very useful effect. And then if you can build up high enough, I am running Borrelsword Dragon to basically go in for those kill style plays. Alright, can't be destroyed by battle, but it can turn around and get you the win when you're ready for it. So, yeah. Guys, that is it for my Counter Fairy deck for the January 2020 format. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this on my channel, make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss a single upload. Guys, the link's in my description box. You have the invite link to my Discord server. Join the conversation. We'd love to have you. Guys, follow me on Twitter and Reddit. And guys, if you want to help support the channel, consider using my TCG Player affiliate link down in the description box below to help support the channel moving forward. It helps me get better cards, which helps me bring you better content. Alright guys, as always, until next time, peace!